Okay, so let's be frank about something. We otaku are hungry. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that knowledge is the food of the soul, and the collective otaku soul is starving. I'm here to remedy that. See, the otaku culture has a few problems in general. First of all, we are a small group. In fact, we make up about 1% of the TV viewing audience. Second, we are very, very different. We are set aside in our own lingo, phrases, customs, and images. But the biggest issue of all is that we are ashamed of who we are. I mean, let's be honest, guys. If you're not among a group of other anime fans, who among you really proclaims that you are an anime fan? I mean, just compare yourself to a sports fan, or a book fan, or a movie fan, or a politics guy. Now, this is by no means a problem that's exclusive to the otaku. Gamers suffer a very similar problem. The difference is that gamers are attacking this problem. But who defends the otaku? The yaoi fangirl? I think not! So who represents anime? Who claims it to be a worthwhile endeavor? Who's gonna rise up and say that this is a medium worth defending? While I might not be that man, I do like to call myself a philosopher. So, philosophy is worthwhile. And there's lots of philosophy in anime, therefore, anime is worthwhile. That's what philosophers call a three-step argument. So I think my intentions are clear enough if Philosotaku wasn't a big enough clue. Anyway, I've tossed this ball around long enough. I'm here to talk about the philosophy of love Hina today. Love Hina is a shonen anime with a rich history and a big following. Famous for its amazing cast of characters and physical hyperbole, Love Hina is the story of a wimpy college prospect, Keitaro, and his amazing and painful quest to find his childhood love. This quest brings him to a situation where he is cohabitating with a group of girls. The show is a ton of fun, and it's what turned a lot of current day fans onto the world of anime, myself included. But under all the fan service and turtles, what is Love Hina actually trying to say? Or is it really even trying to say anything at all? Personally, I believe that it's impossible to tell a story without conveying a message of some sort. And to that effect, I also think that most stories try to do three things. The first thing is I think they ask a broad question that's not necessarily answered in the course of the series. In Love Hina's case, I think the question is that, is it alright to sexualize schoolgirls? Or even just girls younger than you? I mean really, Keitaro is the only male living in a house full of females, and he's the oldest one there. And as if that's not enough, these girls are constantly shown off in sexual ways. Is this wrong? Well, that's up to you. I mean, on the one side, no one likes that creepy guy in the van by the elementary school, but on the flip side, isn't that kind of a cultural issue? I mean, the marriage age in Japan, age of consent is like 13. Anyway, that's a question for another day because Love Hina has a much more interesting debate. See, the second and third thing a story does is ask a specific question and answer that question. So, what's Love Hina's specific question? Okay, let me break this down with this spoiler-tastic character exposition. Again I say, spoilers. Okay, so first we have Keitaro, a man haunted by the loss of his childhood love. He has spent literally his entire life chasing after that love. Next we have Naru, a high school student who fell in love with her tutor and never got over him, and is now basically choosing her college, trying to chase after him. Sue is running away from her home country because she doesn't want to grow up and marry her older brother, as her country's customs are forcing her to. Motoko is an expert swordswoman that has always lived in the shadow of her older sister, to the point that she is terrified of trying to live up to her family name when her sister is so much better than her. Kitsune is a lazy 20-something that just wants to be in a lasting relationship, but has a bad reputation of being easy and just can't seem to get past that. And Shinobu is a young girl that lived in a broken home, constantly torn between her mother and father, and due to this, she can't make decisions and is very shy. Now, as I see it, this only really asks one question, and it's very interesting, and that's, how does one's past affect one's future? You know what, that's a darn good question for a show with this much fan service. Okay, so let's take a step back and think about this. What is our past compared to our present and our future? This is certainly not a new question. For instance, the philosophers William James and St. Augustus of Hippo talked about the brevity of the present and the lasting impact of the past. Or, put more simply, the present is so ridiculously short that all we really have are memories of the past and dreams of the future. I mean, even looking in a mirror, the time it takes for the light coming off of you to hit the mirror, bounce back, and for you to collect the image puts your reflection pretty squarely in the past. Of course, that is taking things to a ludicrous extreme. Now, I could get into fatalism and issues of fate and how he was meant for her and she was destined for him, blah de blah de blah, but honestly, I don't really think that's what Love Hina is about. The real question that Love Hina poses is about how the past affects our actions. And that question brings us into the realm of moral philosophy, certainly one of the thickest philosophy jungles. Alright, with moral philosophy in mind, maybe the question should be put not as, how does our past affect our future, but rather, should our past affect our future? Well, to some degree this is unavoidable. Let's jump a little deeper into Love Hina and the arguments it presents on the matter. Now, posed with the question of, should the past affect our future, we need to take a look at three portions of Keitaro's life. Where he was, where he is, mid-series, and where he is at the end. Okay, so at the start of the series, we find out that Keitaro made a promise to a very young girl that someday they would grow up and go to a prestigious college called Tokyo U. Well determined, Keitaro is awkward and not very bright. He has repeatedly failed the entrance exams to Tokyo U, and his parents are at long last telling him to either get out or get a job. Okay, so here the past really should not have shaped his future. His singular goal of making it into Tokyo U has negatively affected his life. Okay, now skip ahead a little ways, and after a series of rapid life-changing events, Keitaro is the manager of a girls' dorm. He's steadfastly dedicated to making it into Tokyo U, but his reasons seem to be shifting. Is he doing it now for his promised girl, or is he doing it for Naru? Maybe so he doesn't let Shinobu down. Maybe, but he's certainly not letting go of the promised girl idea either. Well, you could certainly make the case that Keitaro would have never met Naru if it wasn't for his past. It seems to me that the past still isn't doing him much good, other than holding him back. Something Keitaro and Naru are starting to realize also. Okay, fast forward a little more and we finally have a climactic scene at a playground where Keitaro and Naru confront each other about their relationship. Naru states that she wants to be with Keitaro, even if she's not his promised girl. She does this a bit more dramatically in the OVA, but that's neither here nor there. And BAM! That pretty much summarizes the philosophy of Love Hina. But to summarize the summary, it seems that Love Hina is trying to say that the past can be either an anchor or a rudder. Keitaro and Naru were anchored by the past, but managed to turn things around, making their past a rudder. All the other characters seem to re-emphasize this with their stories as well. Shinobu decides that she's not going to let her parents' divorce bring her down. She's a rudder. Sue admits to wanting to delay her future, but accepting its inevitability. Anchor. Motoko decides to stray from her family path. Rudder. And Kitsune is still weighed down by her past at the end of the series. Anchor. Now, on to the recommended reading. If you're just eating up this whole past philosophy thing, in addition to the philosophers I recommended above, that's William James and St. Augustus of Hippo, I would strongly recommend you to check out one of two books. Either, and I apologize in advance for butchering this guy's name, Fyodor Shkisherbatskoy's Buddhist Logic, or if you're in a little more of a gushy love kind of philosophy mood, I gotta recommend Plato's Symposium. And that's about all I have to say about Love Hina, so until next time guys, send me your requests and I'll philosophize them up and serve you a tasty dish of knowledge.